Today's video, we're going to have a look at soft clipper by Air. So what is soft clipping? Well, soft clipping is a type of saturation or distortion, characteristic of lots of different beloved analog hardware. Analog tape and tube processors like EQs, compressors and limiters all have a degree of soft clipping when driven hard. More to the point, soft clipping is kind of like a non-linear behavior where soft clipping eases in. So if you've ever had a compressor with a soft knee, the idea is very similar. And Air have brought out a dedicated plugin which is soft clipper. This lets your tracks get loud but stay clean and give you that ready release sound to give beat makers and music producers everything they need to get the most energy out of the mix. So what I've done is I've booted up my track called Whiskey Jar. We're in Logic and this is the track we released a couple of months back. This is the track as it was with the mastering option on Logic Pro. So let's just have a quick listen to it now. So there we go, that's part of the chorus, and I've picked that part specifically because we're going to play around with soft clipper on the guitars. I'm also going to show you what soft clipper does to the whole track, but that's a little bit later. So let's focus in on the guitars. I've got it highlighted here. There's two of them that play that lead sound, and I've got this preset from Logic which is called Blues Spinner. I'm going to mute one of them for now, and we're going to concentrate on one. Now they're panned at 35 either side, so let's bring it back to the center just so we can hear it, and I'm going to solo it so you can hear what it sounds like. So that's the lead sound for this track, and I'm going to add on soft clipper. And I've made it a little bit bigger so we can see it and see what's going on. So there's a basic version and an advanced version. Let's go through the basic version first. And we literally just have a drive and a post level. And you have this meter so you can see what's happening. So let's play it and let's add it on. So the drive dial is there to experiment with the sounds of saturation or distortion from just a hint of it to a really heavy layer. So right now this is on the first preset which is called Feels Fruity, LS Fruity. So if we click this, it's putting it at 71.8% of drive, and the post level is 0 dB. So there's no difference in the sense of the post level, but it's put it at 0 dB. We could bring it back down and it would be a lot quieter of course, but it's sat at the top. I'm going to play around with this a little bit, and one thing you'll notice very quickly is the percentage. If I bring this up, you can go up to 10,000%. So let's start where we were, and I'm just going to increase the drive so you can understand the difference. It's 200%, 300, 400, 500. 1,000%. Now the thing is, that is drive, that's saturation, and you're getting that sort of distortion, but it's not clipping, and that's the whole point of a soft clipper. So it can bring that warmth, that drive, almost like an analog amp, up, and then it's not clipping as in digital distortion where you get that horrible distorted faulty clicking noise. So this is amazing. Now if you're not familiar with soft clipping, don't worry, there's some presets to play with so you can go straight in and hear the difference. So this one is the Feel LS Fruity one. There's heavy, there's parallel, and there's light. So let's just go with light, and let's just pick Glue. And just as a sort of palette cleaner, I'll turn it off. And then I'll bring it back on again. Now remember, this is not just making it louder, it's increasing the saturation. Let's go for something else. Let's go for heavy. Let's go for deep driver. And this is put it at 420.7%, and the post level is -3 dB. Just as a palette cleaner, I'm going to turn it off. And then we're going to turn it back on again. So you can hear a massive difference there. Now, as you play around with these, you might not see these change. So for example, if I go to deep driver, that's 420.7 and there's -3 dB. If I go over to heavily compressed 1, it looks the same, but it's not, because there's other things going on in the background, and that is where the advanced settings come in. So in top left-hand corner, you've got ADV for advanced. So if we give this a click, this is the full version, and we can show you all the things that are going on. So I'm going to step through everything that's on here. Now, a quick thing, before we get into the advanced stuff, if you want to release music like I did with Whiskey Jar and my other singles, then have a look at the channel sponsor, which is DistroKid. DistroKid are a music distribution company. So what you do is finish off your track, like I did with Whiskey Jar, and then you submit it to DistroKid, and they push it out to all the online stores and streaming sites around the world. Now, the big hitters, of course, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Deezer, Tidal, Pandora, all the other ones, iHeartRadio, but there's others out there that you might not even be aware of. And the great thing is it even gets pushed out to social media sites, so things like Meta, so Facebook, Instagram, and then also even TikTok and Snapchat. And people can use your music in their reels, and you get paid. Now, most music distributors charge you per release. So every time you release a piece of music, they charge you. DistroKid don't do this, they charge you a subscription, so one price per year, which starts at $22.99. And there's a couple of different tiers. I'm on the Musicians Plus tier, which is $39.99. That gives me 2 separate artists. So there's me as John Paul, and me and my mate Greg as Tokyo Wasteland. But also with Musicians Plus, you can schedule the date of the release, as well as a couple of extra things on top. Now, whether you go for the Musician or the Musicians Plus, or even the label tier, I can get you 7% off your first annual membership. So there's a link in the description box, which will take you to DistroKid and give you 7% off no matter which tier you choose. Thank you very much to DistroKid for sponsoring this video. Now, let's have a look at those advanced settings on Soft Clipper. First of all, we've discussed that the drive. The drive is experimenting with the art of saturation. And then we've also got meters. So in the basic version, there's just a stereo meter, but on the advanced version, you've got an input meter, an output meter, and the reduction, how much is being reduced, how much of the soft clipping is going on from the reduction to make sure it doesn't clip. So if we play this again, you can see it just kicking in there. You can see the input is 3.7 dB, and it's coming at -3. Because the post level is -3. If I bring this up to 0, 0.1, pretty much. Of course, it depends on the input and how it makes the reduction. So it's a real true sign of what's going on, which is great. With the post level, there's not really much to it. What you set it to is what you're going to get, which is fantastic. So I've set this back to -3 dB, and there's actually the shapes in between drive and post level. We've got parabolic. We've got sine. And you've got the tap. So slight variations there on the shape, whether you want the clipping to roll off smoothly or hard. So gives you a little bit of variation there. Then on the right hand corner, we've got a couple of extra things, starting with true peak and anti-alias. This both minimizes distortions and artifacts which are digital, making sure it doesn't give you that digital clipping and keeping the sound crisp and clear. And you can turn these on and off if you want to. You've also got stereo link. So if you click this, you don't have to worry about imbalances between the left and the right channel. Maybe you've recorded it slightly to one side, and the stereo link will make sure that both sides are working together. Then you've got the release time. So this really makes a difference depending on how long you want that clipping to hang around. So with the release time on this specific preset, we've actually got it down as 1.9 milliseconds. So let's just turn it off. And then let's turn it back on again. So with the release time activated, it's a bit softer, as you can hear, so not as harsh because you're actually releasing that clipping at a specific point in time. And then the last two you've got is mix and out level. This is where you can get a little bit creative. So depending on where you're having the soft clipper at 100% for the output, or you can mix it around, of course. It's really, really cool to play around with this, certainly if you're doing it onto drums or keyboards, specifically things like EP pianos, or a really nice one is to play around with like an organ with a Wurlitzer and add a little bit of soft clip and a little bit of drive on there and mix that in. The last one is out level, and it's normally set to 0 dB, but this is where you can have the perfect calibration in the mix, making sure it's not blasting out and it's actually sitting nicely just where you want it. I would normally play around with these two when you've got the whole track playing. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to keep the second blues spinner muted, except for the whole track, and we'll actually keep the whole track in. And then we're going to play around with the mix and the out level just to see what it sounds like. Before we do this though, I've got this set as deep driver, and I'm just going to turn soft clipper off completely just to show you what it was like before, and then we'll bring it back. It's crazy now, it sounds weak. So let's bring it back. Play around the mix a little bit. It's amazing the difference, and it's just by adding that little bit more saturation or drive and then mixing it in, it can make such a difference to your song. Now the next example I'm going to do is bring this over to the mastering track. Now this you have to be very careful with because you could distort your entire song. But I brought the mastering part, which is from Logic, down one step. I'm going to put soft clipper before it. So let's just do that now. So this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it on the Feels Fruity one, on the basic one, and then I'm just going to bring the post level down about -1 dB. So first of all, let's have a listen to the track with the soft clippers now on the guitar, but let's just listen to the whole track without it on the master, and then I'm going to bring it in. Ready? Let's bring it in. It sounds like the whole track's just being pumped through some kind of warm amp, which is really, really nice. However, be careful with this because, of course, if you drive it too hard, you'll get this. We need to stop that right there. So just be careful with this. Certainly if you're putting it on an end chain, you need to actually give it a bit more subtlety, if I'm completely honest. Air's soft clipper is available now. It's available from today. And I'd like to thank Air for sending me out a pre-release version just to showcase to you guys. Maybe you just need that extra bite in your mix, and I think this is going to give it. There's a link in the description box if you want to check it out. And if you want to see how I recorded the vocals for both me and Joe in this room for Whiskey Jar, check out this video right here. By the way, if you want to have a listen to Whiskey Jar, then you can listen to it on any platform you want by clicking this link. Thanks.